Welcome to another Figuring Out Japan video. We sell all the coolest Japanese collectibles and figurines straight out of Japan. You can check out more details about us in the description of this video, including our Facebook page and our eBay store. So today I'm going to be looking at this figure, which is the Dragon Ball Z Mega World Collectible Figure Shenron. That is the official name of this figure. So basically the World Collectible figures are these small figures that come in boxes like this, but this is, as the box shows here, it's mega, and so it's a lot bigger. Now to date they've only ever released two Dragon Ball Z mega figures, which is the Shenron and also the Super Saiyan Broly, but I think they're going to release the Gold Dragon from Dragon Ball Super early next year. Now this figure, let's actually just have a look at the box first. So there's the title in Japanese. You'll notice they actually used the logo for Kami to Kami, which is Battle of Gods, the Dragon Ball Z movie that came out in 2013. But I mean, obviously Shenron doesn't change, so that's not really an issue. And there it says Shenron. The kanji of that actually means God and Dragon. So, but it's pronounced Shenron, as you can see there in katakana. Banpresto, and that's just a couple of the difference. It actually says movie there, for movie on the side. And one thing I wanted to address sort of right from the beginning is on the back of the figure, you'll actually see this with these Dragon Balls. Now the whole idea is that you can actually put the Dragon Balls inside. So this stand actually has some little black spaces for the balls. And I don't know if you can see, you probably can't in the light, but these actually do have, let me just try and get the video in focus. So they do actually have the stars printed on them. But in fact, these Dragon Balls actually do not come with the set. You have to get them separately in this figure. So, which is actually a standard WCF figure. Now, I actually think that's, it's kind of a cool idea that they did that. But the problem is this figure is actually quite rare. In fact, I would say that in Japan, typically it sells for about 5 times the price of the Shenron itself. In fact, just before doing this video, I checked online. Someone was trying to sell one of these for about $140 US. So, they are quite rare. The reason is the WCF series is usually produced in very limited quantities, and because this actually matches up with this figure, which is something they don't normally do, the demand for this figure has been very high, and therefore, limited quantity, high demand obviously leads to high prices. So it is a shame that they didn't produce more of these, because it is really nice to have the Dragon Balls there in the front of the figure. But unfortunately, the price of this is very expensive, so a lot of people out there would just have the Shenron by itself. But yeah, it's important for me to just clarify that you don't get the Dragon Balls inside that figure. So let's just have a quick look at this figure. So it actually does come with, sorry about moving the camera there, it actually does come with a little stand for the Dragon Balls. So it comes in 3 pieces. And this actually says Itto, which means like top class or first class. I have no idea why it says that. So maybe someone can leave a comment, but I have no idea why they did that. But you don't really need this because you're just going to put it in there, right? So, but it actually shows you here. So as you can see, this is from the movie also, and it actually does have the instructions there on the back to show you that it does go together. So yeah. Now we sell this figure on our store. We don't sell this because it's quite rare and expensive, but we can always get it in specially for you if you so request it. So let's now focus on the Shenron. And I should mention as well with the Dragon Balls, yes they do, there are 7 and they all have the correct number of stars printed on them. So in terms of Shenron, the set comes in, I think it's 10 pieces. So you have the base as 1 piece, the yellow energy as 1 piece. You then get these 3 clear stands, and I'm really glad they used clear stands because there's actually a very expensive version of Shenron. I've reviewed it, and it's a great figure, but they used black, ugly stands. It looks terrible. So I'm really glad they used clear. And there's also a little piece around the back here that sort of adds to stability. So there's 4 clear stands. And then from memory, the figure itself of Shenron is made in 2 parts. And it connects right there at the back. And you can actually see these other joint pieces, but I don't think you actually have to assemble that. I think it's already manufactured. I think you can just make out one there. So they only, so even though it's produced in different parts, they've actually connected those in the factory. So you only have to connect it in 1 point. And I think they only did that because otherwise it wouldn't fit in the box. Like as you can see, he's wider than the box, so that's not going to work. So they just do it in 2 pieces, and then the whiskers 2 pieces each. But you don't need any instructions. It's very easy to put together because the different, like for example these stands, they have a different connecting joint or a different shape at the bottom, so you can't put the wrong stand in the wrong piece, so you don't really need instructions. But yeah, this figure just, I mean, you know, just to sort of give my thoughts on this figure, I think it's amazing. The detail on this thing is just really top class. I mean, you can see all of the underbelly of Shenron. You can see the scales on the actual body itself. And what really impressed me, because you can't really see it that well in the picture, is the scales on the face as well. You can see all the texture and the lines in there. So it's just a very, very impressive figure. Even the way they got the whiskers, the energy, you know, the energy as well. Like that would not be such an easy piece to manufacture. And even the teeth, and you know, they've even got like the tongue in there. And I mean, you can't even see that when it's on display normally, but they haven't cut any corners. This is a really cool figure, and it just sits into these stands, so there's no sort of ugly pins or anything like that. Even the hands there, you can see like it's almost as if they're like grabbing something. Really, really cool detail on that. So very, very top class quality figure in my opinion. The only sort of complaints with this figure, I think one is the Dragon Balls. I mean, if you don't get that extra set, then it does kind of look a little bit ugly because you've got these, you know, holes, but it's not really that noticeable because it's kind of black. The second thing is the joints. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but for some people it might. They are quite noticeable, but the good news is that they're kind of hidden around the back. So from the back, you know, they do look a little bit ugly, but you know, to me it's unavoidable. I mean, they have to produce this in different pieces, and you know, there's always going to be, like, you could pick any figure and it's always going to have little, you know, little parts or little problems. The other thing is it is a little bit small, so it's about 16 centimeters in height. So again, just as a comparison, that is an iPhone 5 case, and if I compare that to sort of a standard sized figure, you know, it's kind of in the same scale. Now I actually like that because, you know, if you want a really big Shenron, it's going to take up a lot of room, and you know, for someone like me in Japan, I don't have much room to display stuff. But if you're someone who wants something really big in size, then, you know, this is not a big figure. It's kind of in scale with the rest of the figures. Like, as I said, for me, that's why I like this figure. But you know, if you want, and also the other good reason is it's very cheap to send, and you know, we can still sell this at a pretty decent price. It's not going to break your bank account to buy this. Some of the bigger ones, you know, they're like $200 plus, but this one, you know, it's like around, at the time of this video, probably around like $55, $60, something like that. So, you know, that's not too bad. So yeah, and this is just how I'm kind of displaying it for the time being. So, you know, if you had a big Shenron, that would take up that whole space, whereas, you know, here, it just kind of